Hello, everyone. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today for our UCLA Global Internship Program and with a special concentration in consulting projects in Madrid. My name is Ana Arellano, and I'm the coordinator here at UCLA for the Global Internship Program. And I also oversee our Madrid program. We have very special guests joining us today to speak a little bit more about placements in Madrid, and then we'll get to speaking a little bit more about placements shortly. So with that, we have a very great agenda. So again, speaking a little bit more about what the Global Internship Program is, as well as eligibility to submit your application. Again, as I mentioned, we have the We Find Group team joining us today. So they are our on-site provider located in Madrid that will be doing the placements for consulting projects. So we'll have them speak a little bit more about what to expect while interning in Madrid. We'll go over how to submit your application, as well as the placement process and timeline, as well as speaking over about the program cost and funding options. This recording will be available by, if not by the end of today, by first thing tomorrow morning on our individual program page, and you all receive an email as well when that recording is available. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to enter this into the Q&A function. We will address those at the end of the presentation. Awesome. So what is the Global Internship Program in Madrid? So this is a very unique program. We're very excited to share it with you all. So this program does provide students I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. This is a very unique program where students are able to complete real consulting projects in Spain. So this is a summer-only program. It's for a span of 10 weeks, and students will be working on group projects, so group consulting project scope. This program is broken down into two components. So students will have remote training prior to beginning the consulting project, and they will also be working on, as I mentioned, a real life consulting project in Spain. So working with companies and working with stakeholders. I want to emphasize that no consulting experience is required. There is that remote training aspect prior to starting that consulting project. So at a quick glance, as I mentioned, this is a 10-week program. Students would be enrolling in a mandatory Communication 195 internship course. This will provide students with 4 upper division units, and this course would range from June 22nd through August 28th. The consulting project of itself spans 8 weeks, and this will be done at this simultaneously while you're taking your online course. And the consulting project, as I mentioned, is broken down into two components, so the remote training and the in-person aspect. For week 1 of the program, which would be from June 22nd through June 26th, students will be conducting remote training here in the United States. For week 2 of the program, students will be conducting remote training in Madrid. So you will be located on site and finalizing that remote training. And that will be from June 27th through July 24th. And then finally, from week 3 to week 8 of your consulting project, you will be on site with working with companies, with stakeholders, finalizing that consulting project in Madrid. And this would range from July 5th through August 15th. As I mentioned, you'll all be enrolled in Communication 195. However, we do also offer an optional CSC 130 course where students can earn an additional 4 units and qualify for financial aid if you are interested in financial aid. The CSC 130 course is really meant to complement your respective placements, and it's meant to reflect on your current communication skills and how can you use those skills to effectively communicate with your supervisor, with your colleagues, and in your peers for this consulting project. So it's a complementary course that is optional, not required. As I mentioned, these are academic opportunities only. These are non-paid placements, and students will be expected to work as a team 32 hours per week when they are working on their consulting project. So in terms of eligibility, all UCLA majors and all UCLA minors do qualify. So as long as you have a 3.0 cumulative GPA, you have 90 units by the start of summer 2025, I'm sorry, 2026, and are in good academic standing. For the 3.0 GPA, if you are a first year or a transfer student, you do not yet have an established GPA, and that is okay. We want to have you submit your application under a preliminary eligibility check, and in January, prior to decisions being released, we will conduct another eligibility check to make sure you have that 3.0 established from the fall quarter. Similarly, if you do not have the 90 units just yet, as long as you are on track to have those by the start of summer 2026, that is perfectly okay. 90 units, that could include AP coursework, community college, anything that UCLA has accepted as part of your degree requirements, and it's available on your DARS. We would accept that as part of eligibility requirements. One thing I want to re-emphasize is that there's no prior consulting experience required to be eligible for the program. So with that said, I gave you all a very brief introduction about our program, but now I want to turn it on to the stars of today's presentation. We have Carlota Rivas and Ricardo Villalaba joining us from We Find Group. And as I mentioned, the We Find Group team is our on-site provider in Madrid that will be providing the respective consulting projects. So Carlota, I'll time that off to you.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you very much, William, Emma, Desmond, Relay, for being here. It's a honor for us to be able to partner with UCLA and to be your family here in Madrid. So, just a brief introduction about our company. We Find Group and the Global Internship. We are a recruitment agency with a very deep background in consulting. We are consultants in different fields that we joined together and we created a consulting company dedicated to provide recruitment services for consulting companies and non-consulting companies interested in consulting profiles. And so that is the core business of our company. And so we also provide consulting projects for international students like you all. And as we are consultants, we are aimed to train you prior to starting your consulting project on how to be a consultant, how to do a project, how to plan the project, how to behave in a company. And our final goal is to provide you the experience of a real life consulting project that will help you either to see that you want to become a consultant once you finish your career, or either to see that maybe consulting is not what you are looking for the future. I mean, the most important is the experience. I can tell you that for the more than 10 years that we have been placing global students in consulting projects here in Europe, many of our former students, they have joined our clients for permanent employments once they have graduated. So that's something that can also occur with you all or with some of you. So once you finish your consulting project, if you wish, we can help you to keep in contact with the company, to get the references from the company, and and to give you all the logistics support you may need to come back to Europe once you have graduated. So, this being said, today, as Anna was saying, we are talking about the global consulting projects in Madrid for you all. So first, we will talk about the projects that you will be having in companies here. The companies, the type of companies that are very well adapted for either environmental, social, financial analysis, innovation, market expansion, communication, and you name it. What is our social and cultural events that we would like you to join while you are here in Madrid? Also, some information about the accommodation, how the airport pickup and drop off will be done, and our support 24/7, meaning that you will have our contact details and you will be able to call us anytime, 24 hours, 7 days a week. If you have any issue that I hope you won't, but obviously it happened, you can feel sick, or maybe you have, a logistical problem with, you don't know what transportation to get. So we are here to support you all. Okay, so all these items, the project scope with a clear defined set of objectives, deliverables, the planning on how to develop the project week by week will be provided to each one of you. You will know also before coming to Europe who will be your mates working with you in the project, and obviously the identity of the client, the sector, the contacts of the company, the address, how to commute from your accommodation in Madrid to your job place. You will have also the social and cultural events available prior to arrival, the accommodation details, and all the information about the logistic support, and the name and contact details of your in-country coordinator and myself and Ricardo, and because our headquarters is based in Madrid. Okay. So if we go to the next slide, as Anna was very well mentioning, the program breakout, it has two parts. One remote training that has 2 weeks. 1 week will be remote training, your training as consultants in the US. Again, I remind you all that you are not supposed to have any experience in consulting. So we will train you from the basis. So it means that you will be prepared, obviously, with the tools that you require and how to behave as a consultant. So week one, remote training in the US. And in week two, the remote training will be in Madrid. Okay, so the first week that you will land in Madrid, you will be in the accommodations and in the offices that we will be organizing for you guys to be with us physically and to receive the training. And then the next part of the project is once you have finished the training, then you will jump to the company. You will have all the details about at what time you need to arrive to the office. Generally, in Spain, you start to work either at 9 or at 8 a.m. So it depends on the company. And you end working. Some companies in the summer period, they try to end working at 3 p.m. in the afternoon because they have what they call the intensive summer schedule. Some other companies, they work, from 9 to 5, and yeah, with 2 hours to eat. I know here in Spain we take a lot of time for lunch. 2 hours, I know, is very, very long, but that's how it is. It's part of our culture that I'm sure that you will love it. The Spanish culture is very easygoing, very friendly, and these 2 hours eating is part lunch of lunchtime is part of our culture because people they want to take time to speak with the coworkers, or even some people they go home and then they come back. But usually what they do is that they take these 2 hours to go for lunch with their colleagues. And from our experience, when you guys come to Spain, you will have your coworkers asking you to have lunch with them, and that will be very special moments for you guys, so that you can understand a bit better and get to know better our Spanish culture and our Spanish, um, way of embracing people from abroad. Okay, we are very open-minded. So those are the concentrations that I already mentioned that are, focus for the projects. The projects will be concentrated in environmental and social impact. For instance, I can mention the real estate worldwide tier one company from the US, CBRE. CBRE is very often providing, this type of experiences, projects focus. Some other projects are focused on financial analysis and planning. It can be not in a financial institution only, but it can be in infrastructure, construction, consulting, so very different range of companies. Innovation and collaboration. Now, many companies are offering or are requesting projects linked with artificial intelligence. To be very honest with you guys, here in Spain, we are behind. I would say the knowledge that is already, is already in the US companies. So they want to know your ideas about how to implement the artificial intelligence in their organizations. Market expansion and strategy. Many projects are also versed on this topic because as you are international students, they want to take advantage of your global mind to see how they can sell their services or products abroad, and how to open new markets, and not necessarily the US market. For instance, last year we had a project with a transportation company that wanted to make the expansion to Saudi Arabia. Okay, so you don't have to go to Saudi Arabia. You do your research, and this Spanish company that is called Tecnove, they got their market expansion and strategy for the Saudi Arabian market. So that could be, this type of projects. For each one of the project among you guys, we will be, very pleased to have any of you applying to be either the communication leader or the project leader. So one project can have around 4 to 5 or 6 students, and so among those students, someone has to lead with the communication, how to speak with the different stakeholders, how to, what informations you as a team want to communicate about how the project is evolving. The communication leader is also preparing the draft of the presentations and defining which part of the presentation will be delivered by each one of the members of the team. Then you have the project leader. The project leader is someone that has a more technical role, is not linked with communication, but is linked with deliverables and with methodology. And so the training that we are providing to the communication leader and the project leader and the rest of the members of the team is not exactly the same. The project leader has to be able to plan the project based on your different profiles, to assign the different tasks to each one of you, and to be able to plan in a daily basis the to-do list in order to get the final deliverables to the final presentation. So let's say like this. Once you finish the project, the final output has to be a final presentation that you guys will be doing to the CEO, or if it's in the financial department, to the financial director, if it's in innovation director and the team. So to the stakeholders of your project will be there from the host company. and you will have, different tools. It depends on the company, but usually you have one television to connect with your computer, and then you will be presenting, and based on the material that the company will be providing, to make this final output, which is the final presentation that is done the last week of the 6 weeks of project delivery. Up to now, guys, do you have any question? No? Okay, so I continue. So here in your website, you can see surrounded in yellow one part that is called consulting projects. There you have, the job description of the communication leader and the project leader. Okay, so if you want to know more to decide, Emma, Desmond, Riley, Ashley, William, and the rest of the people that will be looking to this recorded video, and you guys want to, to assess if you want to become a communication leader or a project leader, then here is the place where you have the job description that will help you to decide whether you feel, like going for to this management leadership role. And also here you have all the information as well about some project scopes that we have provided, that you can download here in this website, and you can have a better idea about the type of projects where you will be assigned during your stay here in Madrid. Okay? So, housing. The housing in Madrid is in the city center. If any one of you has already been in Madrid, you know maybe the Paseo de la Castellana, which is the main city center of Madrid. Okay, so in Paseo de la Castellana, if you go, from La Plaza de España, very close to it, you have one residence that is called Winwood Madrid. We have already been working with this supplier, with other US students from other universities, and they have been so satisfied because the company, the buildings are brand new. This last year we had our first, I would say, groups in this building, and I mean they have all that you need to have a very comfortable stay. The rooms are twin, so you will be deciding between you guys with your friends, or with the support of Anna and the rest of the study abroad department, who will be mating with you in your room. And okay, so you have two single beds, with two places, for study. If you wish, to connect with your family and to talk through your computers, you have Wi-Fi. Inside your room, you have your own toilet for you two, for you and your roommate, and your toilet has your shower, your loom, your I would say your all that you need in the toilet. It comes also with toilet paper, with the first toilet paper. So after that, you will need to buy in the grocery stores that are very nearby. And also inside of your room, you have your kitchenette with everything that you need to be able to cook and live during all your stay in Madrid. Okay, for you two, for two people, two persons. You have a fridge, you have I would say a place to cook. You have a microwave as well. So, and all the rooms, they are equipped with bedding, pillows, towels. So you don't need to bring your towels for your room. Unless I recommend you guys to bring also one towel for the beach, because Spain is very well connected from Madrid to, to our different coasts, and you have fantastic, beaches at maybe 2 hours train from Madrid. And so I would take advantage to go to the sea, to the sea coast. So don't forget to bring one towel for the swimming pool that you have in the building. You also have in the building one swimming pool, but also to go to the beach on the weekends. You have also something very important in Madrid. You have air conditioning that is, absolutely needed, because the temperatures in the summer period, it's very tricky, because in the morning maybe you need a sweater, but in the afternoon really you feel like going to the pool because it's very warm. So in your room, I'm sure that you will be using your air conditioning. And so as amenities, you have laundry on site in your building. It's very cheap, because and this is not included in the price of the program. So I recommend with your roommate to to load as much as possible the washing machine, so that between you guys you can have one washing machine for one washing usage for white clothes, and another for jeans, or you organize yourself so that you can save as much money as possible. You also have a drying machine. Be careful with the drying machine. So the better, if you have pullovers or very delicate clothes, do not use the dryer. It's better, to hang it in your room. And you have in the apartments, you have 24 hours, 7 days a week assistance, not only from our side but also from Winwood Madrid. You will be included in a WhatsApp group from UCLA, where you will have myself, Ricardo, Paulo, your Madrid country coordinator, and Winwood campus coordinator. So if I don't have towels, my air conditioning is not very high. So any questions that you may have with requiring assistance, you can do through the WhatsApp group, or you can go downstairs and ask in the lobby. And also, you take around 30 to 60 minutes to commute from from your campus, from my campus Madrid, to your project location. Okay, but you can do either. It depends on the company. Some companies you can go by walk. Some others you need to take the train, and some others you need to take the bus. So it will depends on the company. To commute in Madrid, the first week you will not only have the training from our side, but from our side also we will take you all and get your youth pass for the transportation. That, remember, the name is called Abono Joven de Transporte. So the Abono Joven de Transporte is for students under 26 years old. If some of you are older than 26 years old, don't worry, just tell us and we will tell you which is the best option for you as another alternative transportation pass. And for this, we will ask you to bring to Madrid a copy of your passport, obviously, your passport, but bring at least 2 or 3 copies of your passport just in case you lose your passport, okay? And also to get your that I hope you don't you want to lose your passport, but just in case is always very useful to bring a copy, 3 or 4 copies of your passport. And for the abono, you need to present one copy of your passport or a copy of your ID card and one passport size photograph. Very good. So, this is not just about being a consultant. This is a life experience. And so we will be doing, many different activities. We want you to leave Madrid being a madrileño, someone from Madrid. So we want you to feel that you have really lived in Madrid, okay? And for that, we will take you to flamenco shows, but not only flamenco. We will, if you wish, we will do, shows of paella cooking. This is something that we are doing this every year, and you guys, you love it. And if you don't like paella, we can do a cooking class about how to do a tortilla de patata, you name it. Okay, so the activities, they will be turnkey based on your group preferences. And yeah, so you will have a welcome dinner the first week when you arrive, and a farewell dinner just to celebrate yeah, your last day. But I hope for the moment that you will be coming very soon again.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlota.
Thank you,
So,
Anna.
absolutely. So now I'll just speak a little bit of how we can have you all submit your application for this coming summer. First thing you want to do is scan the QR code that we have on screen. This will take you directly to the application for business and communication in Madrid. What I want to highlight is that our application is not first come, first serve. All students will have equal consideration whether you submit your application today or submit it on November 24th. What we do encourage, however, is to submit your application sooner than later because there is a two-step process. The first being submitting your online application by November 24th. It's going to ask some biographical, logistical information. The most time-consuming is making sure your resume is up to date and has any volunteer experience, any work experience, any of that, and then submitting your statement of purpose. A statement of purpose, it's a one-page document. It's pre-formatted questions. There are character limits. And this is really meant to be an introductory of why you're interested in participating in consulting projects in Madrid. What are your long-term career goals? How can the consulting project foster those career goals or personal or academic goals? On your statement of purpose, you will have an opportunity to rank the project concentrations that were mentioned earlier, depending on which preferences you would like to participate in. And you will also have an opportunity to indicate if you are interested in partaking in the communication leader or project leader roles. If after you submit your application, if eligibility requirements are met, you will then be invited to conduct an application interview with a team of We Find Group. These are 30-minute video interviews, and they will be conducted on a rolling basis. And this would be a perfect time to explain more in your statement of purpose, more in your interest in consulting projects, or more in your interest in being a project or a communication leader. And these application interviews must be completed by the 31st of December, which is why we encourage to submit their applications sooner than later to avoid any scheduling conflict with possibly with finals, with your last week of classes, or maybe even vacation time. So submitting your application gets that out of the way. So a little bit about the placement process and timeline. Currently, students are submitting their application. In January, mid-January, students can expect to receive their decisions. Decisions will be released. At this time, you will also be notified of the team that you have been placed in. So the general project concentration, for example, if you selected marketing expansion, you will know that you were placed in the team for marketing expansion. It'll be a very general role that would be given to you. However, then in mid-March to late May is when the consulting projects would be finalized. This gives you more details about what the actual project scope is, what deliverables may be needed. So those final details will not come until mid-March to late May. What I want to highlight, however, is that students must financially commit to the program by February before we begin the mid-March to late May final projects finalizations. Again, this is a time period where we're connecting with companies and organizations, so students need to make sure that they're committed to the program before we start officially preparing you for the training and the on-site consulting project. So just know that students must financially commit for the program prior to the release of the final consulting project, which is why in January you are receiving the general project scope that you were assigned to. So now program cost and funding options. This is all available on our individual program page. What I want to highlight is that there's a short difference between the 4-unit and the 8-unit program just based on tuition differences. And the second thing that I want to highlight is that the program fees are broken down into billable and non-billable items. Billable being your mandatory fees that would appear on your Bruin bill, and non-billable meaning items that could fluctuate. It could increase or it could decrease depending on your individual spending habits, but this is our best estimate of how much a student can expect to incur while they are participating in their program in Madrid. Taking the total program cost into consideration, financial aid is applicable and it can cover up to that total cost of the program, including the round trip airfare, your meals, your transportation. However, how much of that aid you accept determines how much you would pay out of pocket. I want to be completely honest and say that during the summer, financial aid tends to be loan heavy. There are just less grants available, which just makes it more loan heavy. In order to qualify for financial aid, you must be enrolled in a total of 8 units, and you must complete FAFSA for the next academic school year. So once students submit their application for the Global Internship Program, our team will follow along, making sure that you're submitting everything for financial aid and you're not missing any important deadlines. There are also scholarships that are available. Scholarships, it's free money that you do not need to return. So highly encourage students to apply to as many scholarships as you are eligible for. That includes our own Global Internship Program scholarship, where you can earn up to $3,000. There's a European scholarship. There's federal scholarships such as the Gilman. If you are a Pell Grant recipient, I highly encourage you to consider applying to Gilman, where you can earn up to $5,000. So really great opportunities. Applications are not open yet. They will begin opening in December and is planned through January. However, you want to scan the QR code that we have on screen just to get a good understanding of possible scholarships that may be available. And then starting next week, I will be hosting virtual drop-in advisings Mondays from 3 to 4 p.m. and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And I'm here to answer any questions that you may have, any concerns, any just curiosity questions. We will not be reviewing individual applications. We want to be fair across all applicants. However, we could provide additional guidance if you are interested. So you want to make sure you drop on by. So with that, that does conclude our presentation for today. Again, everyone, my name is Ana Arellano, and I'm the coordinator and the advisor for our Business and Communication program in Madrid. If you have any questions at any time, please feel free to send me an email directly. We can schedule a one-on-one. I'm going to stop the recording now, and then we'll make some time as well for any questions that you may have. So feel free to enter those into the chat, or you may raise your hand or unmute, and we can address those as well. They could be for myself or for the We Find Group team. So I'll stop the recording.